Today we're taking a look at the Arctic P14 A-RGB fans, courtesy of Arctic. The P14s are finally offered in a white body version with ARGB lighting for those of us who really want to build a white themed gaming build. These fans feature 12 digital addressable LEDs in the center of the fan. I think this creates a really nice lighting effect when you have these fans installed in your system and you're able to see the ARGB lights on the fins for the fan while it's spinning. The P14 PWM PST A-RGB fans do support a 0 RPM mode as well, where the motherboard can actually completely spin down the fan if the system temperatures are in check. When you're gaming or working though, the fan will start spinning at about 5% speed or 200 RPM, all the way up to 1900 RPM. At max RPM, this fan will produce 68.9 CFM at a static pressure rating of 2 mm to H2O. On my Ryzen 3900 XT test system, I ran these fans at 50% and at 100%, and then measured the total system sound output. The 50% fan speed test ended up producing 28.3 dBA, whereas the 100% fan speed test produced 38.9 dBA in the testing. All of the other fans were kept at 50% during both tests, and the sound floor in my space is about 26 to 26.5 dBA. This is all measured on my phone with a sound meter application. While I don't actually have a white themed gaming build, I can see how a 140mm variant of this fan would really appeal to somebody who needs a change from the standard black gaming builds. The ARGB P14s have 6-year warranties. They have 400mm long PWM splitting cables, as well as 450mm long 3-pin 5-volt cables with splitters on them as well. To see what kind of performance benefit I could get with these fans installed, I set them up as dual front intakes for my system. During the real bench testing, the 50% fan speed test saw the CPU cores average about 80.9 C with an average clock rate of 4.03 GHz. The 100% fan speed test saw an average core temp of 78.2 C at an average clock rate of 4.05 GHz. The GPU did benefit here as well. The average core temp was 65.5 C at the 50% test, with an average clock rate of 1945 MHz. During the 100% fan speed test, the average GPU core temp lowered to 62.8 C, with an average clock rate of 1957 MHz. Now these gains aren't huge, but for no manual overclocking, no overvolting, just changing the fan profiles, this is actually pretty good. Of course, there is a sound cost associated with spinning your fans to 100%. As I mentioned, in my system, the sound output increased from 28.3 dBA all the way up to 39.8 dBA. While the gains in performance were minor, keep in mind this was all without manual overclocking or overvolting. There's definitely more to be had here if you're into manually overclocking or overvolting your CPU or your GPU. More total cool airflow through the case will translate to better performance. I was curious about the impact of the extra airflow on TimeSpy, so I ran 3 runs of TimeSpy to figure out the average 50% test was 9192, and the 100% fan speed test increased that to 9,220. Again, not a huge increase, but it was repeatable, and from just a fan curve modification, that's pretty good. The fans had a nice feel to them, and I definitely appreciated that both the power and ARGB cables had splitters built into them. That's actually super useful, especially if you're doing AIOs or you have a lot of fans, or if your motherboard just doesn't have a lot of fan headers or RGB headers. While I ended up using these fans as regular case fans, they would also do well on radiators. These fans are 27mm wide, something to keep in mind when you're installing them. Right now it looks like these fans are about $25 on Amazon, which I think is a pretty good deal. You're getting a nicer quality ARGB 140mm fan with good airflow and good static pressure. I would definitely check out the white body ARGB P14 fans. The build quality, performance, and pricing are all good in my opinion. I'll have links in the description below to the fans and the entire build. Check out my other Arctic videos, and definitely get subscribed to the channel.